Okay, this is most likely going to be a two-part series because this is a long one. But let's hop right into it. All right. So, when Noah and Lot warned their respective people of God's coming judgment and destruction, the people would not listen. Instead, they treated Noah and Lot as extremists. Then the destruction that did come found the people unprepared. Thus it will be when Jesus Christ returns. As in the days of Noah and Lot, the soon return of our Lord Jesus will be a snare unto the people who do not heed the warning and surrender their lives to him who knows all. Luke 17, verse 26 through 30. So this world is hearing and seeing the last warning message from God. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. That's Joel 3:14. Alright, so what you are about to discover is amazing evidence that we in 2016 are living right in the end of times for this world as we know it. The prophecy of Daniel 2 alone shows we are in the time of the end, and all the other evidence proves we are in the very end times. The biblical signs are clear for all to see, and after reading through this site with open eyes, even the scoffers will struggle to argue against it. Sure, many people throughout history have been proclaiming that they were living in the last days and the end of the world was nigh, and some of the Bible signs have always existed from the early days. But never has there been a time before when all these events were evident in so many diverse places and with such frequency and intensity. Our generation is the first generation to fulfill all the biblical signs. So we will show you from the many following signs on this and other pages that without doubt we are living in the final years that the Bible prophesied were to come. And please note, we're not setting any times or dates. We're just simply saying that the second coming of Jesus is near. We're not telling you it's going to happen tomorrow or next week or on fucking January 17th, 2017. We're just saying it's close. Alright, so, and that goes with Matthew 24:33, where Jesus says, "So likewise ye, when you shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door." So this video is just going to go to show that the coming of Jesus is at the door. He's knocking at the door as we speak. So, if you take into consideration all the signs, there is no mistaking that our generation is living in the last days, nearing the second coming of Jesus. The problem is, Satan can see how close we are to the end of the world, which is why he brings certain end times groups into the spotlight, proclaiming false dates for the second coming, which when those dates come and go, causes many people to turn away completely from the truth. The truth being that we are living in the end times. The Bible is very clear on that. We just can't set specific dates for Jesus' return, but we can know when the end is near, and we are certainly now seeing all these things. And the reason why we can never set dates is because, like Jesus said, no man knoweth the minute or the hour when Jesus will return. So nobody can, if somebody says that they know exactly when it's going to come, they're lying, because nobody knows. In fact, Jesus said that not even himself knows when he's going to come back. He said that the only being that knows when the second coming will be is the Father himself. So not even Jesus knows when he's going to come back. So don't listen to those people who just spread all this confusion about, oh yeah, it's happening here and now. So before you read on, please note this important point. In Matthew 24, Jesus speaks of wars, earthquakes, and such things, but says these are just the beginning of sorrows and the end is not yet. Now that word sorrows in the original language means birth pains, the pain in childbirth. Now birth pains speak of frequency and intensity. And as a woman gets near the birth, the pains become more frequent and intense. And this is true also for the signs of the end times. These signs began not long after Jesus' day, and as Jesus quoted, the end would not yet be, because this was just the beginning of sorrows. But throughout history, we have seen the pains become more frequent and intense, culminating in the day we live in now, where the pains are so frequent and intense that we must be right at the time of delivery, when Jesus is to return. So don't let anyone fool you into believing that the signs today are just the beginning of sorrows and the end is not yet. Hebrews 1:1-2 says, God, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds. The beginning of sorrows started nearly 2,000 years ago with the persecution of the early church and the destruction of Jerusalem. We're living right at the end of time. At the end of time. So this goes over the whole Daniel 2. But so this next part goes over the prophecy of Daniel 2 that I already made a video about, but I'm gonna read this last part of it. So the last age of that image was the feet of the image. And when did that last age start? It started in the year 476 AD when Rome fell and split into the 10 kingdoms of Europe, which means this world has been in the last age for over 1,500 years. So add that to the amazing signs of the last days that you will see throughout this site, and you are left with no doubt that we are living right at the end of the toes on the image and right at the end of time, soon to see the second coming of Jesus Christ. So the first sign is the increase of knowledge. Daniel 12:4 reads, even to the time of the end, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. I just love this sign because it is clearly pointing to our day today, and it cannot be refuted by anyone. Throughout history, we have had a slow and little increase in knowledge. But take a look at the explosion of knowledge over the past 150 years. Up until recently in history, the fastest form of transport was a horse. Now man can travel at hundreds of miles per hour and cross the globe in a day. And what's interesting to note about what it said about the explosion of knowledge over the past 150 years, they say that scientists actually say that in the past 150 years, we've made more advancements than all of history combined, just in the past 150 years. That's ridiculous. Technology has developed at a rapid pace, which has led to great improvements in computer power, scientific discoveries, and the medical profession. Just look at how much we have learned about the human body with things like DNA and cellular structures and stem cells, etc. And how about running to and fro? This is pointing specifically to our day with planes, trains, automobiles, and the busyness of modern day life. We are definitely running to and fro and have knowledge like no time before us. This Bible sign has a dual application. Running to and fro and knowledge increase also applies to the knowledge of biblical truths. See Amos 8:12. During the Dark Ages, for over 1,000 years, knowledge of biblical truths were suppressed by the Roman Catholic Church. But since the Protestant Reformation and breakaway from Rome, God's people have been running to and fro in His Word freely, and knowledge about great Bible truths have been revealed. God now has an end-time remnant church with a full gospel truth to take to the world before the end comes, which was needed to fulfill the sign about taking the true gospel message to the whole world, which you will read about further down the page. The next sign is the ability to enforce the mark. Revelation 13:17 reads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Now this is a sign that most people miss. Have a think about it. What needs to happen in order for the beast system to stop people from buying and selling if they refuse the mark? We need to have a worldwide financial system whereby everything bought and sold is through electronic means, not cash. Has there been any time in history where this could happen? No. Are we living in a day where this could happen? Most certainly. And the powers of this world are now trying to make cash obsolete and are actively pushing pure electronic forms of payment, like PayPal and Google Wallet, for instance. Take a look at the news and you will see this being reported in different countries of the world. Above is just a few examples of the Alright, I didn't read the above things. Maybe I should read them. I'm not going to read them. But, there's plenty of examples of the major push throughout the world for a cashless society. All right, we have the technology to do this now, which in times past was impossible. And look at the financial turmoil around the world today. This will help in bringing in a unified currency to help make it possible to enforce the mark of the beast. Technology is the mark, but technology is needed for proper enforcement of it. This is a sure sign of the end times. Let me check the time. Dang, I haven't even read that much and it's already 10 minutes. I'll go through one, maybe two more signs, then I'll start the next video. Alright. The next sign is the man of sin will be revealed. 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 3 reads, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." Paul here is saying that that day, or the second coming of Christ, will not come until the falling away happens and that man of sin is revealed. Now, many professed Christians today believe that the falling away is something that will happen in the last days. But this is a wrong view, because the falling away began not long after the New Testament church and was completely fulfilled when the Roman Catholic Church took control and merged Christianity with paganism, and punished anyone who did not bow to her so-called authority and false teachings. And that man of sin who was revealed to the world during the Protestant Reformation is none other than the popes of the Roman Catholic Church. So the falling away has happened and the man of sin has been revealed. Therefore the second coming of Christ can happen, and this shows we are living in the end times. The next, how much time do I have? Alright, this is probably the last one for this video. The next sign is violence and sexual immorality. Matthew 24 verse 37 reads, "But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." Luke 17 verse 28 through 30 reads, "Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven, and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed." What was it like in Noah's day and Lot's day? We need to go to two other Bible verses to see what it was like. Genesis 6:13 tells us that in Noah's day, the earth was filled with violence. And in Jude 1:7, it says that in Lot's day, Sodom and Gomorrah had given itself over to fornication and strange flesh. So violence prevailed in Noah's day, and sexual immorality, including homosexuality, prevailed in Lot's day. And this would be a sign of the end times before Christ Jesus returns. So our question is, does violence and sexual immorality, including homosexuality, prevail in the world today? Very much so. Not only does violence and fornication rage across the whole world, homosexuality has become a norm. Okay, I got 2 more minutes. Since 2001, at least 14 countries have fully legalized homosexual marriage. I'm not going to go through the list because that's just going to waste time. But since 2015, America has legalized gay marriage. There are currently 110 cases of sexually transmitted diseases, with 20 million new cases every year in America alone. A large rise in sexually transmitted diseases since 2012 in England. So today, the world is full of violence and sexual immorality. You only need to turn on the TV and you will see violence, fornication, and homosexuality everywhere. The cities of the world today are especially bad and are no longer safe places to be. What are we told in Jude 1:7? We are told that what God did to Sodom was set forth as an example to us today. And what did God do to the people of Sodom? He destroyed them with fire because of their wickedness, which included homosexuality. Alright, so that's 14 minutes right there. Stay tuned for part 2.